Hey, everybody, how's it going? Survivor 45 is in the books, which means that the future of the specialists is in the balance. Alexa has left. That was her final episode, was doing the recap of Survivor 45. She'll still appear from time to time, but the whole show in general is going to be a little bit different now because Alexa won't be my co-host moving forward. So I felt like I needed to take this time to just kind of sit down and talk about the state of the specialists. Where are we moving into 2024? What's going to be happening? What changes should you expect? All of that fun stuff. First, new logos. I got the top point. The specialists. That's there. We got a whole bunch of new logos made. We got a new Survivor Specialist logo. We got a new Cinema Specialist. John and I are changing the name of our movie podcast to the Cinema Specialist now that Survivor won't be our only thing. We want this to be a channel that is going to be your spot for not just Survivor, but other content as well. A lot of people over the years have talked about, can you start putting out Big Brother content? Can you start putting out Amazing Race content? Can you start putting out challenge content? We have always kind of said it's tough for us to do all of that. We don't know if we want to do everything. And I'm not saying that I'll be on every show. I'm not saying that Will be on any show. But moving into 2024, we are going to be a channel that is more than just Survivor. So we're gonna have the Survivor specialist. That will still be the staple of our show. That always will be the staple of our show. That is how we built this up. And Survivor is still my first love. That is what I want to be talking about. And I know that's what Will wants to be talking about as well. But we're also going to be focusing more on the cinema specialists. We're going to be pushing that more and talking about that. We're about 20 episodes in to our Marvel Cinematic Universe watch. I haven't watched all the movies, so it's a rewatch for John, a watch for me. And we're discussing those movies alongside some of the more popular movies that are coming out in theaters right now. We also did our favorite 100 movies, and we barely talked about it to anybody. So we really want that. We want to be stressing that and pushing that. In addition, we're going to be doing a Phil and Will show every week where Will and I are going to sit down and we're going to talk about pressing topics, things like that. It's still going to be in our style, but it's going to be a little bit more loose, and it's going to be a little bit more of, talking about our other interests and our other hobbies and other things that are going on in the world. I know a lot of you who have been listening to this podcast since the beginning know that Will and I are both big sports fans, and we used to do a betting podcast called the College Football Pick'em Pod, and we used to do it for CanesInsight.com, and we would run a couple of the episodes on our YouTube channel. We might be focusing a little bit more on that stuff and pushing that content out. In addition, some of the more exciting stuff for you Survivor fans, we are going to be doing more reality TV shows. The Traders season 2. I mean, it's Sandra, it's Parvati. How could we not do that? So we will be doing content for the Traders season 2. Blake Meyer, who has been a casting professional for 10 years, and we'll be talking about him more later on in this episode. He's going to be coming over and doing a lot of Patreon content for us. And I'm going to be talking about all of the Patreon content that we have coming up because I really think that it's going to be worth it for so many of you. If you're huge fans, if you're interested in casting and things like that, our Patreon is going to be the place to be. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. But Blake is a huge fan of Big Brother, talking about doing Big Brother Canada, which I think comes out in March. So keep an eye out for that. But this channel is going to be more than just Survivor. And with Alexa leaving, it's no longer just the Survivor specialist, Phil and Alexa, or surviving without Survivor specialists. If you remember those dark days during COVID when Alexa and I were doing everything we could to just put out any type of content, we are the specialists now. That is the brand. That is the channel. Survivor is our bread and butter. We know that. But we are going to be branching out into other areas because it is going to be useful. And we want to give you all a lot of content. So if you are interested in a show or a topic or something that we're not covering, but you feel that we should be covering it, let me know. Post it in the comments here. We are going to be looking at the comments. We want to know what our audience is looking for because it is going to be a little different. Will is going to have different takes and a different perspective on the game than Alexa ever did. But it's also a time for us to grow and to establish ourselves as something different than we might have been over the last couple of years. So let us know if there's something that you've always wanted us to cover. I'm not going to watch Big Brother, but this channel can have Big Brother content on it. Okay. And maybe I could be convinced to sit down and suffer through what everybody always talks about is horrible, even though they tell me I should watch it. It doesn't make any sense to me, but let us know. Comment, message us, survivorspecialist@gmail.com, if you want to shoot us an email. A lot of fans have been reaching out, shooting emails, and I'm really happy with that. In terms of the look, it's going to be a totally different look on our channel. You should be seeing all that stuff today. I was supposed to post it all Christmas Eve morning, so hopefully that's happening. But new looks, colors. It's not going to be black and white anymore. It's going to be very colorful, different style of the logos. Austin Garso, one of our patrons, has been absolutely killing it with thumbnails and making different things for our Patreon. We're going to have collections over on Patreon, so it'll be easier to follow and see what content you're missing and what you're getting. But it's going to be, I'm really excited about the look for this and the thumbnails. And my a good friend of mine who runs his own brand agency, Casa de Dope, he created these logos for us, and I think they look absolutely amazing across the board. The colors, it's going to be different. And that's going to be consistent throughout this entire thing. Whether we're doing the traders, whether we're doing Survivor, whether we're doing movies, it is going to be consistent throughout this entire thing. Want to make a bigger push on social media. Ever since the finale of Survivor, I'm really getting I got my fix, because on the Survivor 45 finale, from my personal account, I tweeted, "I wish Jeff was as mean to quitters as he was to Jake after Jake broke the challenge." Got more likes than I have followers, and I finally understand what it's like to gain social media clout. It went straight to my head, and so I can't wait to keep growing this. But in all seriousness, we want to be more active on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Like, we want you all to be seeing us all the time. And again, interact with us. Let us know what you're thinking, because that is going to shape the direction of a lot of what we're going to be doing with the channel. We have our ideas. We're still going to be doing recaps. We're still going to be doing predictions and power rankings. But if you have questions, if you have pressing topics that you want discussed, let us know, because we are open to anything at this point. Any show, any style, whatever you might be thinking. If you've always said, "I want to reach out to Phil and Alexa about doing something," this is your chance. It's not Phil and Alexa you're reaching out to, it's Phil and Will. But reach out to us and let us know what you'd like. I'm not going to guarantee it's going to happen, but this is the time for us to be making changes and kind of get a finger on the pulse of what else everybody's excited about other than Survivor. I also want to mention this. I'm so excited for this series we're going to be doing in January and February with Russell Muscle TV. It is going to be so much fun. And this is, again, going to the point of, we want you all to be more involved. And we want to get back. I mean, Will and I used to do an entire episode every week where we would read every single comment from the week before. So if we were doing our predictions and power rankings, the end of that podcast was always reading every single comment from the previous YouTube video. We'd sit there and do that. I'm not doing that again. Those would turn into 2.5-hour podcasts. But with Russell Muscle TV, starting January, I believe our first date is either going to be January 7th or January 8th. We don't have the exact date locked down, but follow Russell Muscle, follow us, and you'll find out. We are going to be doing a Survivor Second Chances 2, but we are going to do it as New Era versus Old School. And Old School is anything pre-40. New Era is 41 to 45. Obviously, there's going to be more seasons if they ever did this kind of thing, but we want to do it with the castaways that we have right now. It's a conversation that a lot of people have been talking about. People want to know, what would a Second Chances 2 look like? And honestly, I think Survivor fans badly want a Second Chances 2. I think Survivor, and they would be smart to put together a Second Chances 2 cast and let us vote on it. I think that would be a really smart move. So the way we're going to break it down, each episode is going to be dedicated to a gender and whether they're new school or old school. So for instance, episode 1, I don't know exactly which one we're going to do first yet, but it might be old school men. And so we sit down and we say, here's the 10 men that we are putting up for nomination for old school men. And same rules, can't be a winner, can't have played more than once. Bruce for the New Era men is out because he did technically play twice. But we're going to sit down, we're going to come up with the 10 people, we're going to have a conversation about it, and then we're going to leave it open to a vote for all of you. You all are going to vote on which 5 people from each category you want on the show. And whoever you pick, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to end the entire thing with a reveal. And then I believe we're doing a brand steal, which I've never done in my entire life. But this is going to be so much fun. It's going to lead us right up to the premiere of season 46. And it's going to be the type of off-season content that I think gets Survivor fans super, super excited across the board. I can't wait to do it. Really, really excited for it. So keep an eye out for that. Again, going to be starting January 7th, January 8th. We haven't decided if we're going to do Sundays or Mondays. Some things are up in the air right now. But either way, that is coming as a collaboration with Russell Muscle TV. Now to go over to the Patreon. I know we talk about the Patreon all the time. And really, the Patreon at this point is going to be an explosion of content. Alexa and I, we were doing a Q&A. We were doing the Power Rankings game. We were doing a retrospective. We have a Discord, and we were doing a fantasy game. All of a sudden, that is going to entirely change. And I am talking, if you're a $20 patron, you're going to be getting over 20 episodes per month if you are a $20 patron. So it's less than $1 per episode. And really what this goes towards, the Patreon, is supporting us to the point where we can make this our main focus. I want this to be my main focus. I've been doing this for 10 years. And it's always kind of been a secondary thing that I am more passionate about than anything else I do. And I'm so excited to be able to be in this position where even though I'm losing a co-host I've had for 10 years or 9 years, 8 years, whatever it is, I'm still in a position that I can adapt and get to a point where I can say, how can we make this better? How can we get more excited about what's coming? And so I really turned on my brain and I said, you know what? Whether you're a YouTube fan or you're a patron, you don't even have to be a patron, but if you're just a YouTube fan, you're still going to be getting more content than you've ever gotten ever on this channel. There's going to be more. But if you become a patron, you're going to get to the point where you might even get tired of listening to me talk. I don't know how you could ever possibly get tired of listening to me talk, but maybe you will. So I'm going to go through what the Patreon is going to look like moving forward. And again, this isn't me sitting here saying, give me money, give me money, give me money. This is saying we are putting in a lot of work behind the scenes and we are ready and excited to produce this content for those who are willing and able to get there and pay for it and want to do it. So here we go. This is our Patreon moving forward. So we're getting rid of the $1 tier. If you were a $1 patron previously, you'll be able to stay in our Discord for 3 months, but there is no more $1 tier. The $5 tier is going to be every month we will be doing, so I'm not even going to talk in terms of months because it's really going to be weeks. That's the consistency that we're looking for, right? So if you're a $5 patron, you'll have access to the specialist community on Discord. That's a place where you can have conversations with other Survivor fans, other movie fans, other reality TV fans about anything you want to have. Just jump in there, talk, enjoy it. It's so active on Survivor nights. It's really fun. I don't really look at it because I'm old and I have a desktop and I don't even look on a laptop anymore. And I don't have Discord on my phone. I'm too busy sending out banger tweets. But I really do think that this community is going to be fun. And the Discord is also where you're going to be leaving questions and comments and things for other things that we're going to be doing for Patreon and that we could be doing for Survivor. That doesn't mean that if you're not a patron that you can't leave comments and questions and things like that. It's just that if you're a patron, it's a little bit easier for us to find and we're not going back through YouTube videos that we haven't watched before. Every other week, we'll be doing a Q&A. So the Q&A has been once a month. Now it'll be every other week. Will and I are going to be doing that for the most part. There could be some episodes where it bounces around and there's other people involved, but the Q&A can be about anything. It doesn't just have to be Survivor related. It can be life related. It's whatever you're wanting to know. So that's the specialist Q&A released every other week. John and I will be doing a thing called $5 Tuesdays, which is going to be a fun take on a movie podcast. Every week, every Tuesday, John and I are going to release a podcast about a movie. Right now, the topic is going to be movies on big anniversaries. So for instance, 10-year anniversary, 15-year anniversary, 20-year anniversary, 40-year anniversary, whatever it is. We're going to be talking about movies that are turning a significant number in 2024. That might change as the show itself develops, as our YouTube channel develops, but that's what it's going to be right now. And that's going to be released every single week. And then in addition, in January and February, actually beginning December 29th, Will is putting out his New Era rewatch. So Will's New Era rewatch, I know that Will hasn't been a part of this for the last couple of seasons. I mean, the last full season he did with me was season 33. That's how long ago this was. And so what Will's going to do is he's going to sit down and he's going to rewatch seasons 41 through 44. And he is going to discuss the big moments, the big twists, the big players, the big advantage changes, all of that stuff, and talk about it from the perspective of how does it work now? How did it work then? How does it work now? And he's going to just talk about it. This will give you a good taste of what Will is like. How do you feel about Will? what are his takes on season 41 through 44. He's going to have different takes than Alexa and I, so it's a good way to get to know him. And these episodes, it's not going to be an episode by episode recap. He'll do a couple episodes at a time, but it's going to be released twice a week. So twice a week in the months of January and February, right up to the Survivor 46 premiere. So if you're interested in what Will has to say about Survivor 41 through 44, this is your place to go. Again, that's everything for $5 patrons. But right now, $5 patrons will be looking at the Specialist Q&A podcast every other week. So that's at least 2 per month. The $5 Tuesdays every week, which is at least 4 per month. And then Will's New Era Rewatch, which is only going to be in January and February, but is also twice a week. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, you're looking at about 14 episodes in January and February. And then you're looking at about 6 episodes per month moving forward from there. And if we come up with our other ideas, things like that, we'll be doing that. So again, we're putting out a lot of content. And with the time and the effort and everything that we're putting into it, we have to put some stuff behind the paywall, right? Like we have to, but it's going to be worth your while. We're not just doing this to say, hey, give us money. It's really, we want to put out a lot of really good, high quality content that our fans will be excited about. And I think that this is a good place to start. So that's for $5 patrons. The next tier up, where this is the $10 tier, we are going to be doing all of that stuff. So if you're a $10 patron, you get all of that stuff. In addition, you get Survivor Rewind, which John and McKenna do one type of Survivor Rewind on the Patreon or on YouTube. And then they do another version of Survivor Rewind on the Patreon. So they talk about, a specific episode and how it relates to the episode that we just watched. So that goes for $10 patrons. We'll have the Survivor Rock Draw. So this is a fun new take on the retrospective. And what it's going to be is you all are going to put in your topics that you want us to discuss about Survivor. It can be anything, but a topic that you're dying for people to talk about, Survivor related. So throw it in there and let's see any topic. Will and I will then take from those topics, maybe 10 of them or whatever. We are going to put them in a random name generator and we are going to pick whatever topic it lands on. Whatever it lands on, that's what we do. It's a Survivor Rock Draw. It's the luck of the draw. And that will be what our podcast will be about that at that time. That is going to be every other week as well. So that'll be released the opposite weeks of this next series that I'm going to talk about. But so Survivor Rewind is every Friday after a new episode of US Survivor. Survivor Rock Draw will be every other week. If you're already in the Discord, leave some ideas for this Survivor Rock Draw. If you're not in the Discord, get over there and start leaving some ideas for this Survivor Rock Draw. Now, the other $10 episode, specifically for $10 and $20 patrons, is going to be Casting Perspective. This is going to be a podcast where I'm joined by Blake, who I mentioned earlier, who's been a casting professional for 10 years. He's worked for all of the big networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. He's done Netflix shows. He knows what he's talking about, right? And so this isn't going to be, oh, come listen to us so you can find out how to get on Survivor. There are going to be little tips. There's going to be conversations about red flags and potential, downsides to certain things you could say in your video and maybe things you're just not thinking about because he's seen it all. But also this is going to be about how did certain people get cast on the show? Why were certain people cast on the show? What are the reasons that certain players get on, but other archetypes have been other players have been sitting over there for year after year after year as an alternate and just hoping that they're going to get the call. And then they come on and they're so much better than the person who played earlier. It's a conversation about kind of what is going into the casting thought process. And I think that even though it's going to focus a lot on the players and specific seasons and maybe why they would put certain people on certain tribes in the earlier seasons and things like that, it's also going to be about how do quitters slip by? How can you prevent a reality TV casting person from being worried that you ever would quit the game or being worried that you don't have what it takes, what to focus on? What did this person do that got them cast that maybe you could learn from? And it's not just about Survivor. It's about literally everything with reality TV. But Blake's been working it for a really long time. And I think that's going to be a really, really fun podcast. So that'll be released every other week, the opposite weeks of the Survivor Rock Draw. So if you're a $10 patron, you are getting one Casting Perspective episode every other week, one Survivor Rock Draw episode every other week, the Survivor Rewind with John and McKenna, which will be released every Friday after a new US Survivor episode. And you will get everything in that $5 tier, which is the specialist community, the on Discord, the Q&A podcast, $5 Tuesdays, Will's New Era Rewatch. And in addition, during Oscar season, after the Oscar films are announced, John and I are going to be doing our Oscar Best Picture breakdown, where we will sit down and devote an entire episode to each of the Best Picture nominees, talk about their chances, talk about what if they could win now I'm on Survivor train. If they could win Best Picture, what other Oscars they might win, where they would rank if they did win Best Picture, things like that. So that will be coming out. There'll be 10 episodes of that because I think there'll be 10 movies that are nominated, and that'll come out between when the Oscars are announced and when the Oscar ceremony actually takes place. So that's for all our $10 patrons. Now, if this is interesting, if this sounds exciting, if you're sitting there going, wow, this is gonna be a lot of content. The good thing is if you're not completely sold on getting in there yet, you're not completely sold, we are going to be putting out previews on our YouTube channel every week. So this Blake guy, who none of you know, who maybe some of you do know because he ran our org way back when. I forget what summer that was, but he ran an org all the way back when. I think it was between 33 and 34. But you can hear him talk about it first. So throughout the month of January, starting on December 29th again, Will's New Era Rewatch, the first episode of that will be released on December 29th on YouTube. So you can listen to it there and then decide, hey, I do want to keep hearing more about this. We'll also be putting out every first episode of every series on Patreon we're doing will go on YouTube for free. So you can get a taste and see if this is something you want to hear. You can hear Blake's perspective, hear how he talks about the casting of shows and things like that, hear what John and I have to say about movies, hear our first episode of Survivor Rock Draw. It's all going to be there. It's going to be something. I'm not trying to sit here and be like money. It's go listen, see if this is something for you. And if it is, now you know where you can go get it. And so again, if you're a $10 patron with the casting perspective and the Rock Draw, let's say that's 4 episodes per month. When Survivor's in season, that's an extra episode every month from Survivor Rewind, which is McKenna and John. So that's up to 5. And then on top of that, you get the 6 that you would be getting from the $5 tier. So you're talking 14 episodes. If I did my math correctly, I'm probably doing my math wrong at this point. Oh no, it's not 16. It's 11 episodes. 11 episodes guaranteed every month. And then on top of that, you're going to be getting, when we do the Will's New Era Rewatch, the Oscar Best Picture breakdown, and other shows throughout the process. And then finally, we have the $20 tier. This is our big one. And this is the one where you're going to get everything from the $5 and the $10 tier. And in addition to that, you're going to be getting my after show, which I put up every Thursday after a new episode of Survivor, where I give more in-depth thoughts about certain topics and things and talk about more of like the hot issues that seem like they're popping up on social media and things like that. You'll also be able to compete in our power rankings game, which is coming back next year. Compete in the fantasy game, which is coming back next year. We've been playing for buffs a lot. I'm getting merchandise made, so you might also be playing, maybe alternatively playing for merchandise or also playing for merchandise. We are going to have the specialist logo on some shirts. Maybe not. It won't be happening in January, February, but by the time we get to season 46, we will have that stuff going on. So you have that to look forward to as well. But either way, if you play the Power Rankings game, if you play the Survivor Fantasy game, those are games in addition to the boot list and the prop bet that we do. And if you win, you get a buff. We send it your way. Corwin Green won 2 of them for season 45. So good for him. And then the show that I'm really the most excited about, myself, Will, and Blake are going to sit down and do a show called Every Season Matters. Now, we are going to start with Survivor Borneo. We're going to do 8 episodes for every single season. Every single season. So that is a lot of episodes. When you do that times 40, I mean, that's 320 episodes. And then you just got to keep going because by the time we get done with this, it's going to be pretty far in the future. But we're going to sit down and we are going to talk about 8 pressing topics from an episode. Most overrated player, most underrated episode. Was the premiere better than the finale? What's the most overrated moment? Different topics for each one. And we're going to do 8 episodes where we sit down and we talk about it. These are going to be released twice a week. So the first episode, I think we're doing on January 2nd. So that first episode, no, we're doing January 1st. Yeah, because it's the new year and it's a Monday. So we're going to release that on the first day of the year. And then we'll release the second episode later that week. And all 8 episodes will pretty much take up 1 month. But in a month like January, where there's going to be 5 weeks or 4.5 weeks, there will be an extra episode for season 2. You'll get the season 2 premiere at the end of January. So that's going to be a show that is going to be our most in-depth look at these seasons that we've ever done, because we're going to be talking about different things, archetypes, gameplay, things like that. And we're going to be breaking it down thoroughly. These episodes are going to be like 20 to 30 minutes long. And that's going to be fun. And I'm really excited for that series, because I think that is one where if you're a huge diehard Survivor fan, we're always trying to find people who will talk to us about the older seasons, right? And if you haven't watched the older seasons, go watch the older seasons. And then in your perspective, go listen to what we're talking about. Because with Borneo, how people felt in 2000 is not how people feel in 2023, 2024. So go check that out. That's going to be, like I said, twice per week, which equals out to at least 8 episodes per month. So if you're doing those 8 episodes, plus the Survivor Rock draw, which is twice a month at least, plus the Castings Perspective, which is twice a month at least, you are now up to 12 episodes there, plus the $5 Tuesdays, which is John and I. That's at least 4. That's 16 episodes a week. The Q&A podcast, which is every other week, that's at least 18 episodes a week, and that's during the off season. Now, in January and February, you'll be getting Will's New Era Rewatch, which is going to be 2 more episodes per week. So you're talking 26 episodes at this point every week, or every month. I'm sorry, I keep saying per week. It's going to be 26 episodes per month there in January and February. And then when we get into March and April, we're not going to be having the those, the Will's New Era Rewatch, but you'll have the Survivor Rewind. You'll have my after show. That's going to be at least 4 episodes each per month during season. So again, that's 8 extra ones. You are now up to, again, 26 episodes per month. So we're really trying to make it worth everybody's while. We're not just sitting here being like, here's 1 or 2 episodes. It's here's everything that we can think of and put out there. And you know what? If you come up with some ideas that you'd like to hear for Patreon coverage, let us know. And again, whether you're a patron or you're just following us on YouTube, you are going to be getting more content than you've ever gotten from this channel. It will be the most content you've ever gotten from this channel. Between the YouTube of the Second Chances 2, we're going to be doing at Russell Muscle TV during the off season, the Phil and Will show, which is coming, the Cinema Specialists, the Survivor content that we're going to be putting, the Patreon previews that we're going to be putting out in the month of January, and then getting into the Traders and potentially Big Brother Canada and maybe even regular Big Brother. All this stuff, this channel is going to be the place to be. And then if you want to be a patron, there's going to be even more. As I just broke down every single thing, there is so much content that's going to be coming out. So consider it. Patreon.com/The Specialist, THE Specialist. And consider it. It's going to be a fun community. We really want to get the community as involved as we possibly can and make this an exciting place to be. 2024, the future, I'm really excited about it. I feel like when Alexis told me she wanted to leave, I said, oh no, what am I going to do? And then I sat down and I said, you know what? This is my chance to really change what this channel is, to change what everything is, what we're doing, how much we're doing. Make this a focal point of my life, more so a focal point of my life. I've always loved this community. I've loved what we've been able to build. I mean, if you've talked to me, if you're one of the patrons or fans or anybody who's talked to me, you know how passionate I am about this. And I feel like this is the opportunity to turn that passion into our main thing. And I'm so excited about that prospect. And I'm hopeful that you all will be excited like I am, that you'll see the new logos. We're going to have backgrounds on our videos, the thumbnails. On Patreon, if you're concerned, well, that's going to be overwhelming. Everything's going to be broken down into collections. So you'll be able to easily find the collection you're looking for. If you're there for Every Season Matters, you're a $20 patron because you really want that, but you could care less about the casting perspective. Well, you just go on there and click the collection of Every Season Matters, and you can find every episode as they release. They'll be released in these nice little files, and it's so easy to find. So being consistent and putting this out there and letting you all know that like a change is happening, but it's going to be a change for the good. It's going to be a change for the good. I don't think you've seen the last of Alexa, but this is going to be a change for the good across the board. And I think that's going to be good for all of us. I'm excited about the prospect for us. And I hope you as fans are also excited about this. I always feel like it's a little weird when you sit down and you're essentially, I think I said at the end of the 45 finale, I was like, I'm pretty much just doing a PowerPoint here. I'm just telling you everything, but I really want you all to know what is going into this. that we're not just sitting here and saying, okay, be a patron because we're saying be a patron because this is all of the stuff that we're putting out. This is everything that we're willing to put in. And I want you all to understand. And also, by me making this video, now I don't have a choice but to do it. I have to do it. This has to come out as consistently as we're saying, because guess what? I just told you all we were going to do it. And I can't now go back on that. So this video is really just to explain to you where we're at. D1 Survivor 45. I'm excited to see what's going to happen in season 46. I'm excited to see who the next winner is going to be. I'm hoping we can get some tell-alls. We don't know. We have no idea if that's going to happen or not. But hopefully we can turn this channel into something where you say, man, I am so happy that I found the specialist when I did. And I'm so happy that they are continuing to grow and expand. And I hope you all become as involved in this community as I want you to. The Discord, the things like that. We have patrons who are engaged to each other. Okay. I never thought that I would say that. I never expected that when we started this podcast, but we do. We have patrons who are engaged to each other. And so this community has been really fun. And I know our patrons who have been involved for a long time have had a really good time doing this. And they are, they're all good people. I've talked to most of them. And it's a place that is very welcoming and is very just enjoyable. And people are willing to just go in there and talk about whatever. And I mean, I think some of our patrons go to like theme parks together every summer and stuff like that. Like they fly all over the country to see each other. I'm not saying that's not part of this thing, but I'm just saying what this community can be. And, Will and I, we've talked about it a lot, and it's really about letting you be heard and talk about it. And at the end of the day, when you're wondering, what is the state of the specialist? We are fans creating for fans. That is what we are. We are fans creating for fans, and that is what we will always be. I've never played Survivor. Will's never played Survivor. Blake, who's done a bunch of casting stuff, has never actually played any of the reality TV shows that he's casted for. We are fans creating for fans, and we want to be the voice of the fans. We want fans to sit there and listen to us and say, yes, that is what I'm thinking too. And hopefully that comes across, and hopefully you all understand that. And I'm really excited about what the future of this podcast holds. So thank you all so much for listening to this episode. Thank you all so much for being continued fans. Whether you choose to become a patron, if you just are a YouTube fan, it doesn't matter. I am so grateful for all of you, because the fact that I can even sit down and record this podcast is because somehow, some way, we have convinced over 10,000 people to subscribe to our YouTube channel and listen to us blab about a show that I have loved watching since I was 8 years old. So thank you all so much. And if you do want to become a patron, patreon.com/thespecialists. And I'm really, really excited for you to all see what we have in the works moving forward. So until next time, the next episode that you'll be seeing is going to be Will talking all by himself, and he doesn't have a video for it because he thought it would be good to just record audio. So instead he had to put clips together. So check out that episode. It'll be coming out December 29th. It'll be the first episode of Will's New Era Rewatch. Also on these Patreon previews, I just want to preface, we will have video for YouTube because otherwise it's kind of weird. There is no video. Patreon is audio only for us. So you'll just be hearing it. You won't be seeing us. But on YouTube, obviously, we're going to put the video. Otherwise, it's kind of awkward, which you'll see with Will's. But he did a really good job of actually putting together the images and things like that. So check all of that out. Get ready for the new logos, the new brand, all that fun stuff. And that's it. I'm excited for 2024. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy New Year to everybody. I cannot wait until you see what 2024 has in store. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you next time.